Petaluma Pete now has a blog for kids only on Petaluma 360. Hey kids, Petaluma Pete here, and we're in downtown Petaluma today, and we're going to introduce you to a new friend, and his name is Bam. His full name is Bambino, but Bam is here today to introduce you to a new word, and that word is shelter. You ever heard that word before? Well, come with me, and let's find out what it's all about. Petaluma Pete and Bam have a couple of things in common, kids. One is that they are both turning gray, and the other is sometimes making the wrong decisions. Hey, Bam. Bam lives in L.A., and when he comes here to visit Leo and Lola, he stays on his leash like a good boy. But there was this one day when he was not wearing his tags, and he managed to escape from the house. And I mean, he booked out of there, kids, running faster than a fifth grader. And he turned the corner before we even knew he was gone. And all 2.5 pounds of him bolted across the dangerous street, made a brief pit stop, and continued into the great unknown before you could say Jackie Robinson, leaving us to start the heart-pounding search for the little guy. 4 excruciating hours later, we get a call from the city animal shelter who saw our signs and said they think they may have the Bamster there. So we jumped in the car and we headed for the shelter, which is just off Lakeville, kids, where you turn into Shamrock Materials right there on Hopper, and you just follow the road right by the railroad track there on the left, and then turn right into the parking lot. Now, kids, I'm here to tell you that the city of Petaluma needs to be congratulated for the cleanest, coolest, best-run animal services facility that Petaluma Pete has ever visited. And the first thing we saw was this sign telling us they were open 1 to 6, Saturday 12 to 6, and closed Sunday and Monday. The second thing we saw was Kathy Sousa, the shelter supervisor, unloading a litter of 10 big 6-week-old puppies that were already 3 times the size of Bam, and they'd been staying at Kathy's house until old enough to be adopted. Once inside, the third thing we saw was the arrival of a stray dog in the arms of a very loving little girl who had sheltered the animal at her house for almost a week, trying to find its owner. And while Jason Peach, one of the animal control officers, scanned for a chip that might be embedded in the little guy, believe it or not, the phone rang just then, and the caller was asking if anyone found this very dog. And after the little girl realized she was going to have to say goodbye to her new friend, she started crying, which made Petaluma Pete cry. Anyway, Jason said that number of adoptions have really increased over the last year, perhaps because more people are staying home during the down economy and maybe decide to get a pet to warm up the house a bit. If you decide to bring your adults here, kids, you'll find all sorts of animals, including dogs, bunny rabbits, chickens, parakeets, and, of course, playful kittens, all waiting for someone to adopt them for good times on the home front. This place is more, much more than just an ordinary animal shelter, kids. Jason showed us lots of very cool and caring things like these plaques up on the wall that pay special recognition to people who have donated lots of money or volunteer time to this facility. There's also these big walls filled with these tile squares that people can sponsor to place their messages on about their pets. And one of my favorite things to see was this other wall with photographs of some of the animals that were indeed adopted by a Petaluma citizen. And most importantly, there was this engraving machine right there in the lobby where people can make their own custom metal tags with the animal's name and the owner's phone number in case the little rascal gets away like Bam did. Speaking of Bam, on the way to identify the little fugitive, we saw colorful, fun, animal-themed T-shirts that were for sale and really inexpensive, with the proceeds going to help fund the shelter. This was more than just the dog pound like so many other cities. This Petaluma facility even offers literature and training on all sorts of subjects for all sorts of animals, kids. So you and your adults can learn better ways of taking care of your pets once you adopt them and take them home. We also saw these big outside exercise areas where animals could run around and play. And they also have 3 different community rooms where the animals can hang out inside and goof with toys and look at pictures just like your room at home, kids. And there was this other area called the visit room, where the animal and the potential adopter person could sit and get to know one another before deciding to go ahead with the relationship. Don't you wish we had one of these rooms for our adults sometime? Anyway, we finally made it to the area where there were these big holding pens where lots of very cool dogs were waiting for something, anything to happen, and we started looking for Bam, hoping against hope that he would be there, so we could take him home and reunite him with Leo and Lola, who were very sad, wondering where he could be. Sure enough, there he was, and to say he was happy to see us would be the understatement of the year. Bam almost jumped out of his skin when he saw us, and he started screaming, "Let me out! Let me out!" in dog language, until Officer Peach opened the pen, scooped him up, and brought him to us so we could sign all the necessary papers and break him out, but not before putting his tags back on. So that about wraps it up, kids. Until next time, remember to be nice to everyone, listen to your teachers, and eat more veggies. And thanks to the city of Petaluma for providing such a wonderful animal services facility run by such a dedicated professional staff. Because of them, Bam is back, kids. He's back to party on and howl with the best of them.